Okay, so I'm going to be telling you the effects social media has on teens and young adults' mental health. Oh, goodness. Okay, so grades 7 to 12 students who spend over 2 hours using social media reported higher depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. Now, you may not find this alarming until you find out the average person spends at least 2 hours a day using social media. Now, I specifically will just be talking about teens and young adults, but this does not mean social media can't affect anybody's mental health. And if you don't identify as a teen or young adult, if you have children, sisters, brothers, cousins who do, then this is very important just to be aware of what's going on in their life. So let's talk about mental health. 1 in 5 children ages 13 to 18 have or will have a serious mental illness, equaling 20% of youth. 11% will have a mood disorder, 10% will have a behavior or conduct disorder, and 8% will have an anxiety disorder. And this was brought to us, this statistic was brought by the NAMI, which is the National Alliance of Mental Illness. So social media usage. So I have up there the logos for Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter to represent that the average person uses at least 5 social media sites. And as I said before, the average person spends at least 2 hours a day browsing these. Okay. So something we use this much on a daily basis for a substantial amount of time is definitely worth looking at the effects it could cause on us and our mental health. So is social media hurting your mental health? Bailey Parnell, a researcher on social media and mental health, states that there are 4 major stressors on social media that could possibly turn into mental health issues. First, we have the highlight reel, and this is the collection of people's their best, most glamorous, exciting moments that are usually put on social media. So, for example, this happens to me all the time. I'll be laying in bed in my pajamas, just watching Netflix, and I'll be on and I'll look on my phone that there's people out doing like all these fun things, and it makes me think, oh, like why isn't my life that exciting? Like why can't I be like them? So it's really it makes us struggle with insecurities in our lives that really aren't even there, because you're comparing a moment that you're just hanging out by yourself to when somebody is having like one of their best moments. So, Stephen Furtick says, we struggle with insecurity because we compare our behind-the-scenes moments with everybody else's highlight reel. And this makes me feel not good enough in some cases when I'm looking at social media. Next, we have social currency. So in social media, we are the products. We attribute value to things by liking, commenting, sharing, and viewing. So for me, I know if I like go on Instagram and I post it on Instagram and it doesn't get that many likes, it makes me think about like what's wrong with that picture I just posted. Like why aren't people liking it? Which sounds ridiculous, but like it makes you insecure of what's wrong like with what you're posting. So this is tying up our self-worth based on what others think about that post. And we're amplifying it for everybody to see it. So if you get 5 likes on a picture, everyone who follows you sees that, oh, you got 5 likes on that picture. And FOMO, the fear of missing out. Anxiety forms when people can't check their notifications. So if you're at a movie, say you're at a movie and your phone rings, and my first reaction at least is to look at it and see what it is. But when people can't see what like notifications they're getting and who's been texting them and all that stuff, it gives not all people but most people anxiety because they're afraid of what they can't see. So this leads to like if you go without your phone for a couple of days, like you like are stressing about, oh, like who's been texting me, who's been Snapchatting me, like all that stuff. And then lastly, we have online harassment. and this is the most one I'm common with, and is cyberbullying. We see posts, or if we go on the news, sometimes we'll see a child has killed themselves because of online harassment. And I want to talk about Megan Meyer. So if anybody's seen the movie Cyberbully, that movie is based on her story. So Megan had dealt with depression and anxiety growing up, and then her parents let her get a MySpace. This was back in 2007, so her parents let her get a MySpace, and this boy named Josh started messaging her, and she was so excited because she had never gotten any other guy's attention while growing up, and you know how that can be important when you're young. So, and then one day, all of a sudden, Josh just turned on her, spreading rumors about her on MySpace, and her friends actually started joining in on all the hate that she was getting. And she killed herself because everyone just turned against her, was spreading these nasty rumors about her. And it turns out Josh was never real. Her ex-best friend and neighbor made the profile just to mess with her. And the mom of that neighbor was actually involved in the whole entire thing as well. So this is an extreme case, but they are real. This does happen to people. So if you're probably thinking, if social media is so bad for you, why don't we all just get rid of it? But people don't realize that social media is an addiction. I've dealt with this from getting cyberbullied online before, and it's just why don't you just put down the phone? But it's just something, it's kind of like the fear of missing out, it's the anxiety of not knowing what people are saying about you. So this is a video from CNN talking to people about their addiction with the internet.
Are you addicted to your cell phone?
Maybe a little bit.
As your battery goes down, the more your panic level rises.
Would you say you are addicted to your phone?
Yes.
Do you ever wonder if our 24/7 connectedness is making us less connected? Consider this. 90% of American adults have cell phones, and 29% of cell phone owners say they can't live without those cell phones. Could you go a day without your phone? Could you?
No, I don't think so.
Is it true you sleep with it?
Yeah, I sleep with my phone.
Where's your phone when you're sleeping?
Usually in my hand, under my pillow. So it's in my hand the whole time when I'm sleeping.
What would it feel like if I said you couldn't check for a day?
Like the Stone Ages?
71% of teens are on more than one social networking site, and studies show that social media can sometimes not be great for self-esteem. One study, in fact, found that the more time people spent on Facebook, the worse they felt about their own lives.
If you're not having a good day and then you go on Facebook and you see how your best friend just went to Disney World and your other friend, just got a boyfriend, and everyone's having such a great life because we only post our happy moments, and then that makes you feel worse.
China and South Korea have already identified internet addiction as a significant public health threat.
Okay, and then, I ran out of time for that video, but anyways, it was just summarizing how people are addicted to their phones whether they want to admit it or not. And then, solutions. So solutions to deal with all of this. Be aware. Be aware of how much time you are actually spending on social media. And restrict your social media use if you feel like it's necessary for you. I know everyone's different. Okay. And create a better online environment and model good behavior. So in conclusion, the dark side of social media is actually just this dark side of people. Social media can't be good or bad. It's what we make social media. So I don't hate social media, I actually really like social media, but it's just be kind to people online and in person, so just be a good person. All right.